Even an E80X motherboard looks quite small in this chassis. Today we have a new case from Lian Li. This is the O11D EVO XL. And we have so much to go through with this case because there are varieties of everything. You can literally do loads of stuff here, which I don't even know where to start, honestly. The design. The design is something different for sure. In terms of material, because we have top and backside aluminum panels, so they are a bit flexible, but they are lightweight and durable, and this is what gives you somewhat, let's say, ease of movement with the case, because if we take into consideration V3000 Plus, that's a heavy case, and here we kind of lost weight with the panels, otherwise it would be much heavier. We have two sides, well, basically one side and one front tempered glass with the bar in the middle, which can be removed because you have two screws at the top and two screws at the bottom. So it's all up to you basically to decide if you want to have a seamless view inside your components, especially if you place your GPU like this, or you want to place the bar instead, just in case. I mean, if we take into consideration that you place an AIO at the top, there will be a certain flex with the top cover, but it will go down by a couple of millimeters, nothing drastical. So when you place the tempered glass on the side and on the front, there's literally no movements, it stays fixed, and somewhat tempered glass holds it, which is quite alright. Now let's go with a couple of things that you need to know. As already stated at the beginning, we have brushed aluminum, which offers a premium look from all sides without a doubt, and that's definitely something. I didn't expect it to be that flexible, but in those terms we got some premium finish, and that's kind of reminds me of other Lian Li cases that also had that material in terms of panels, but regardless of that, it has side and front tinted tempered glass, not too dark, but still it's tinted. Talking about the aluminum, we have top mesh part, top sidebar, we have front sidebar and right side panel, which are all made out of high quality brushed black aluminum. Then we have the front addressable RGB strip, which is similar to the O11D XL and O11D EVO. Here we have a full-length LED strip, which can be controlled with two buttons on the front. You have M for mode and C for color, which kind of gives you a possibility to arrange everything, but you can synchronize it with your motherboard and control it with the motherboard software, which is quite cool. The power button wraps around the edge, so you can press it on the front, you can press it on the side. It really doesn't matter because they did this some sort of a mechanism where it gives you a possibility to push it on both sides. With the introduction on the O11D EVO XL frame also has a fully reversible position for the motherboard, where you have to remove all the side panels, remove the bottom I/O module, remove the top and bottom fan bracket, relocate the power supply support located in the second chamber. You have to slide out the base from the frame and install it at the top, and reinstalling everything back basically gives you a complete reverted position. Now we have something also really cool, which brings us to the point where you can adjust the height of the motherboard. Now this also depends on the radiator thickness, what radiators are you going to use on the bottom, on the top, because in this case you can use up to three 420, but I'll get to that part later on when we touch base on that. So you have two brackets, some sort of brackets, or let's call them covers, which have openings so the airflow can go through. One is at the bottom located and one is at the top. If you wish to push the motherboard upwards, you just have to untie these two thumb screws for the motherboard tray and two on the side as well. This releases the motherboard tray. If you want to push it upwards, you have to remove this cover at the top and just place the motherboard tray higher and use the cover back at the bottom to cover the opening. The same way goes for the bottom part, so it's kind of nicely organized, I would say. Now if you push the motherboard upwards, you have compatibility at the top for 360 and 420mm radiators, or the same configuration with the fans, which gives you maximum thickness and clearance 46mm. The side can go 360 or 420, the same thing goes with the fans, and the bottom goes 360 or 420, same configuration with the fans as well, and the maximum clearance is 126 millimeters. The rear radiator support is 120. Now in the middle motherboard position we have 360, 420 in each position, and it's same goes for the fan, so I don't repeat myself constantly with this. On the top you have clearance 82 millimeters, and at the bottom you have 90 millimeters of clearance. And if you push the motherboard at the lowest position, again we have 360, 420 top, bottom and side position. At the top you get clearance 180 millimeters, and on the bottom you get 54 millimeters of clearance. The side fan radiator bracket is of course removable. Again, you have to remove the thumb screw and then press the, I would say, that screw that is at the back to release that bracket at the back. You have two positions, so you can orient it as you wish, which gives you an option depending on the possibilities. So what can you do? You can leave it as such, and then from the chassis of that bracket to the back side panel you have 40 millimeters, and from the inner part of that bracket to the first position of the fans or radiators on the lower bracket you have 81 millimeters. If you rotate the bracket completely, you'll push it further back and you have no space at the back, but you have 117.2 millimeters of space. This gives you an option to basically do wonders on the side, because then you can regulate the thickness of the radiator, regulate the fans if you want to maybe try to go with the push-pull combination, because it is possible. Since you have 40 millimeters at the back, then you have 80 millimeters at the front, and that's more than enough for a push-pull combination. The fans on the back should go at the back, and well, basically in both configurations you could go with push-pull. So yeah, quite outstanding to have that option to switch the bracket, of course depending on what you're gonna do. If you're gonna place the bracket with the upright position, or I don't know if it should be called upright, because this right here can be rotated at the bottom, and then you get additional bracket that holds the GPU. I placed it as such, so the HDMI cable goes through the top and at the top part of the graphic card, and basically if you rotate it, then you have to reroute the cable from the bottom right here, but the top will definitely move a bit. So you get additional bracket that holds the GPU at such position at the top. This is cool because, well, first of all, the design. It looks quite outstanding, I do have to admit. But the thermals are also cool, but we'll get to that part on this GPU later on, and I'm going to, of course, go through all the benchmarks as well. You also get in the accessory box, you get side fan bracket blocking panels. So if you place three 120mm fans on the side, you can place those brackets just to prevent pressure loss and unwanted turbulence in the whole airflow. Then we go to the I/O module. So we have 4 USB 3.0 Type A, 1 USB Type C, and 1 audio jack 3.5mm 4-pole. You have the possibility to change the location of it. You can go on the side, you can go on the front, and you can go at the back, depending on how you actually prefer it. So it's all up to you again to decide. Now I do have to say I didn't expect this one when I went back to the other compartment of this case, and if some of you guys remembered when I mentioned the Lancel 2 had that drive bay at the bottom with hot swappable possibilities. Well, right here we have something quite similar, because we have two hard drive cages, one at above the power supply, one below power supply, which are already pre-connected, and they are hot swappable. So what you can do is place two 3.5-inch hard drives at the top and two at the bottom. You already have power connected, and you already have two SATA data cables going out. So you just need to push in your hard drives and connect the cables. But you must be thinking, what's up with the possibility of pushing the hard drives inside, because they are placed like this? So do I have to remove the complete cage? No, you actually don't have to, because this case is somewhat magnetically inspired, let's put it that way. Both cages can be flipped and then placed back, because the magnet holds them in position, and you just push in the hard drives. That's all there is to it. Connect the cables, and what's there left to say? One SATA is running out of each cage, so they are already let's say daisy chained at that connectors. Now, speaking of magnets, there is also one more possibility. Let's say the cable shroud is rotatable, so you can rotate it towards the GPU if it's in an upright position, or you can place it back. When you place it back, it has two magnets that do a significant click. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of annoying, but I have to mention that just so you know, it's nothing drastical, nothing will happen, it just does make that click. Regardless of that, behind that you have loads of Velcro ties. And beneath the Velcro ties you have additional metal holes where you could reroute the cables as you wish. So what I did when I finished everything, placed the panel back, which didn't have any issues, and closed the back side panel, and it's connected with pegs. So it didn't have any problems closing it, because you can really do outstanding cable management here, even with the hard drives. So I'm really surprised, and positively of course, and gives you an option to do literally whatever you wish with it. One more thing that is magnetically connected in the chassis, you have these GPU clamps, let's put it that way, if they called it. So you have two of those. Each of those are holding 4 PCI brackets. You release them, and it's magnetically released and attached again in this position. You remove the cover, the covers, depending on the GPU, the thickness and how many slots it needs. You place the GPU inside, let's do it like this, and then what you do is just close it. This is it. Eventually what you could do is use the, I would definitely suggest that, use this thumb screw, but so don't worry about the magnet holding the GPU, right? Because it's definitely not possible. You have some standoffs right here. So each of those holes in the bracket for the GPU that holds it to the PCI slots is actually additionally attached. So the hinges go out through those holes, and this is just some sort of a locking mechanism that they invented. Quite cool, I have to say, and toolless, which is outstanding. With the case, you have two additional accessories that you could change the look or even the performance of the case. You have the upright GPU kit, which I already mentioned, and you have vertical GPU kit. The upright GPU kit gives you a possibility to place the bracket as such, or revert it to be placed in the different position. If you go with RTX 4000 series, you don't have to worry about 12V HPWR cable, because it actually has enough room, depending on the weight of the GPU, but right here I have a different GPU than usual, and actually 12V HPWR fits perfectly. There is enough space for that length from the GPU towards the tempered glass, and you can reroute it quite nicely. One thing I would suggest, so it doesn't flex the cable, of course, so it doesn't flex too much, the 12V HPWR, I would, which I did, use the zip ties at the back and tie up the cable so it goes nicely straight, and you can see that from a close-up, to the hinges and to the bracket that you usually use for radiator or fans. The cards can be up to 358 millimeters in length, and the thickness of the GPU can be 80 millimeters, while in white cards can go up to 150 millimeters with the IOs at the top. Cards that are thicker than 73 millimeters will definitely interfere with the bottom 420 millimeter, which is wider than 145 millimeter and thicker than 30 millimeters. What I would also suggest, since you do get a PCI riser that is 900 millimeters long, I would suggest rerouting the riser cable before placing the power supply, before placing the hard drives, before doing anything whatsoever actually, because you do need to reroute it through everything. And my suggestion is reroute the riser cable going here down to the bottom, here at the back, and then push it already before placing the GPU. The cool thing about the upright position of the GPU, you can actually locate it, you can actually change the locations. So it doesn't have to be this is the lowest position where I placed it, and I did that just to have more space for the cables to connect the GPU. But regardless of that, you do have some sort of an extender that kind of gives you ease of access to the ports, because it has that type of clearance, and I just wanted to place it at the lowest point I don't know why, just wanted to show it a bit more, but you can push the GPU upwards more because it has different stages, and this gives you a possibility to organize it as you wish. In addition to aluminum, we have steel and 4mm tempered glass. It comes in black and white color scheme. I don't know if they'll make additional third one like they did with the O11D EVO, but it's time for benchmarks because this video is getting a bit longer now. So let's go. We have AMD Ryzen 9 7900X3D, and we have Gainward GeForce RTX 4070 Phoenix. Cooling on the processor is Galahad 2 Trinity Performance, but I swapped the fans with SL120 V2 fans just for the visual aspect. So it's going to be a lower performance than the performance on the Galahad 2 Trinity Performance. But regardless of that, it still did quite outstanding. So AIDA 64 Extreme Edition CPU went up to 90 degrees Celsius with the clock speed going up to 4850 MHz. And the GPU had a funny temperature with 49 degrees Celsius, which is just insane. Then we go to Cinebench. Cinebench went from 86 to 88, it varied quite a bit. But the clock speeds went up to 4875 to 4925. And the benchmark scores did jump quite a lot in the first run, 26,847, and then it lowered down to 26,700. And basically stayed at 26,600 plus minus. And that's quite good because quite outstanding performance, I do have to say. I'm really satisfied. What to say? An outstanding modular case. I can't believe that we can go through everything in this 20-minute, 30-minute video. I don't know how long will it end up to be, but I totally forgot, brackets on top and bottom are removable, so you have two screws, you just slide it out, take it out, and that's it. Regardless of everything what I stated, outstandingly modular case. Design is immaculate. I did get worried about the aluminum top being so flexible, but when you get more into details about everything, it kind of makes more sense because it is a huge case and lowers the weight on the top chassis to not flex here at the front, and loads of space. Three 420mm radiators at the same time. That has to be tested. I have to do that once I get more free space for additional builds, water cooling and stuff like that. And yeah, that will be all for today. Big thumbs up to Lian Li for another outstanding case. PC Crazy, definitely performance badge, but I'll give it a PC Crazy creative badge as well. Because so much going on and so much things that you could do inside this case. Reverse it, everything is removable. Basically, it's like doing Lego bricks and building your own chassis. That's it. So guys, thank you for watching today's video. I'm placing the link for I'll place Lian Li Galahad 2 Trinity Performance AIO in the description below. But the star of the show is the Lian Li O11D EVO XL in black. You have it in white as well. If I find it, I'll place that one in the description. So you could click it. And finally, that'll be all for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for staying so long in such a longer video. But I have to go through all the details. And if you're new to the channel and you didn't subscribe, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button, click the notification bell. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.